Good day everyone, I am Ania Banyo. Today I will discuss about a new social movement, feminism, and multiculturalism. But before that, I will discuss about contemporary ideologies. What is contemporary ideologies? In the political theory, contemporary ideologies, it is refers to the modern frameworks of thought that shape political beliefs, governance, and public policy. Unlike sa traditional theories, naghahanap sila ng universal truths at focusing sa tema na kagaya ng justice, identity, power dynamics, and social change. Masyadong malawak ang contemporary ideologies. Ilan sa mga frameworks nito ay ang kagaya ng liberalism, conservatism, socialism, and social democracy. And the last one is the nationalism. When we say liberalism, it is emphasizes individuals' rights, democratic institution, civil liberties, and free market. Madalas sinisigurado nila ang balancing individuals' freedoms and ensure social equity. The second one is the conservatism, focusing on preservation of traditional social values, institution, and cultural continuity. Socialism and social democracy. It advocates for socio-economic equality. And the last one is the nationalism. It promote of national interests and unity. Madalas, in-emphasize ang shared cultural, linguistic, or historical identity. Habang nag-evolve, the ideologies emerging continuously reshape political thought. Dito papasok ang environmentalism or ecologism, feminism, multiculturalism, and the last one is the postmodernism and post-structuralism. First, the environmentalism or ecologism na kung saan dito ay ang preservation of nature, sustainability, and the ecological limits of the planet at the centers of political decision-making, critiquing infinite economic growth. Feminism, it is analyze and critiques the structures of power that lead to gender inequality, advocating for the equal political, economic, and social rights of all gender. Multiculturalism promotes the recognition and protection of the diverse cultural, ethnic, and religious identities within a single society. And the last one is the postmodernism and post-structuralism. Critics the grand narratives or universal truths and politics, examining how language, discourse, and power intertwine to shape our understanding to reality. In the first slide, what is a new social movement? A new social movement is a collective effort that focuses on social, cultural, environmental, or identity-related issues rather than solely on gaining state power or economic change. And also, it emphasizing issues that across borders. The next one is key points. First, challenges traditional state-centered political ideologies. The second one is connects local and global issues. The third bullet focuses on values, identity, rights, and quality of life. And the last one often operates through grassroots organization and international network. Example, feminism, environmentalism or ecologism, multiculturalism, religious fundamentalism. Here is the characteristic. Transnational or global in scope. The second one emphasizes participation and activism. The third one addresses issues beyond class and economic concerns. The last one is challenges traditional political structures and boundaries. The next one is the four ideologies. First, feminism. Second one, ecologism. Third one, multiculturalism. And the last one is fundamentalism. When we say feminism, it disconnects women's experiences worldwide and recognizes power relation. Second one, ecologism views nature as an interconnected whole cooperation to address environmental problem. The multiculturalism argues that cultural identity does not always correspond to national identity. So, legal loyalty to the state is not only basis belonging. And the last one is the fundamentalism. It challenged authority prioritizing religious belief and values. Social and economic change. Four ideologies emerged after Second World War, recognized in public debate from the 1960s to 1980s. These ideologies are partly products of new social and economic structures in advanced industrial societies. Habang nag-evolve ang new ideologies, nagre-response din ito into changing social condition and challenges. Ilan na dito ang liberalism, conservatism, and socialism. And the last one is the fascism. Traditional ideologies also evolve in response to social and economic change. Ito na ngayon, so nabanggit ko na kanina. Again, ulitin ko ulit, liberalism, socialism, conservatism, and the last one is the fascism. Kapag sinabi natin liberalism, it is responded to the crisis of the mass society and concerns about majority rule. The socialism naman is developed in response to changing economic and social conditions. The third one is the conservatism. It is adapted from earlier thinker to modern social realities. And the last one is the fascism. It emerged as a response to specific social and economic circumstances. So, bakit nga ba magkakasama itong apat na ideologies? Ito ba isang grupo? Hindi. Because they are some goal or belief. They are not group not because they are some goal or belief, but because they emerge under similar historical condition and engage with classical ideologies in comparable ways. The next slide is important social changes included. Wartime mobilization of women into factories and agricultural work. The weakening of the distinction between the private home and public or work and civic spheres. The development of household appliances, reducing the domestic labor, greater availability of contraception, especially the pill, increasing educational opportunities, and a narrowing educational gap between men and women. The next one is critique of classical ideologies. New ideologies emerged partly in response to the failure of Marxism in changing socio-economic conditions affecting women, the post-war generation, and the ethnic minorities. So, bakit nga ba binanggit si Karl Marx dito? Ano nga bang naging ambag niya sa new social movement? So, Karl Marx established the foundation of modern political conflict theory by framing social movements as a driving force of history. Isa sa malaking ambag niya ay ang historical materialism at class struggle, kung saan pinapaliwanag niya ang kasaysayan ng lipunan lipunan ay produkto ng labanan ng mga uri ng hinatiniya ang lipunan sa kapitalista o may-ari ng produksyon. Yun ay tinatawag na bourgeoisie at mga manggagawa na kung saan tinatawag naman ay proletariat. Ayon sa kanyang teorya, ang yaman ng mga kapitalista ay nanggagaling sa pagsasamantala sa mga manggagawa. Ano nga ba ang connect ni Karl Marx dito sa social movement? Meron siyang tinatawag na class struggle na kung saan ay ginawa niya. And dahil sa class struggle, dito natutulan ang panlalamang ng mga kapitalista sa mga manggagawa. Na kung saan dito napipigilan na patuloy abusuhin itong mga nasa mga mababang antas. Yun ang naging ambag niya sa new social movement. A feminism social movement ay bagay na kadalasan ay hindi nakadepende lamang sa uri. Ito ay tumutukoy sa mga protesta laban sa dominasyon sa kultura, buhay lipunan at karapatang pantao sa loob ng makabagong lipunan. The next one is feminism. Feminism is a social, political, and ideological movement dedicated of achieving full social, economic, and political equality between the sexes. It started with 1837. Nagkaroon ng first wave ang feminism. Mula ang first wave ay nagsimula noong 1840s to 1920s, kung saan pagboto at edukasyon pa lamang kanilang nilalayon dito. Sa second wave, nagsimula naman ito noong 1960s to 1980s. Mas naging malawak ang sakop ng feminism. Feminism is a diverse and debated ideology with many different strands, each offering distinct perspective on women's status, equality, and social change. The next one is women's work. Dito, sa slide na to, makikita nyo ang picture ng mga tao, iba't ibang profession. At 2003, The Observer magazine cover story interviewed successful women executive about their position and the status of women in society. Key views of the interviews: Sunita Gloucester, Sahar Hashimi, and Caroline Plum. Si Sunita Gloucester, isang head of an advertising agency, argues that more and more women are facing reality head-on. They are more and confident and expected to be treated with respect and fairness if they take time to have children. Kay Sahar Hashimi naman ay isang consultancy. According to her, women want equality with and not superiority over men. That they should celebrate being women, not try to disguise it. At ang huli naman ay si Caroline Plum, who developed a graduate recruitment and research agency. Sabi niya, women need to be stronger in self-promotion, declaring that success for me is about having an interesting life and being exposed to a wide range of experiences and people. Parang lahat naman ata is having an interesting life ay talagang maengganyo ka. The next one is liberal feminism. Liberal feminism is a particular approach to achieving equality between men and women that emphasizes that power of a person to alter discriminatory practices against women. Dito ay narito si Mary Wollstonecraft. Sa kanya, Women's Rights and Citizenship. Women should be represented in government, having civil existence in the state, not be excluded from civil and political employment. The next one is John Stuart Mill. Contributions to Liberal Feminism. Influenced by Harry Taylor, Mill wrote The Subjection of Women during 1869. According to him, he argues that women should enjoy equal rights with men, including right to vote. The next one is liberal feminism in Britain and the USA. Development in the 19th century. In the United States, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, 1815 to 1902, and Susan Anthony mula 1820 to 1936 promoted women's freedom. Here is the problem with the liberal radical feminist critic. Radical feminists argued that liberal feminism is too superficial. Radical feminists claim men are responsible for oppression, war, violence, hierarchy, and exploitation. Isa na dito ay ang prostitution. Liberal feminists view prostitutes as sex workers who choose their profession. They support legalization so women can pursue their careers without hindrance and condemnation. The next one is socialist feminist critic. Socialist feminists argue that liberal feminism ignores or marginalizes working class women and their workplace problems. They believe gender issue must be linked to class issues. If it says that true equality cannot be achieved just by giving women the right to vote or access to corporate job. The underlying economic and social system must be entirely separate. They emphasizes that women belong to different social classes and their interests vary based on their specific class position. The next one is other critics, Black. Feminist critic Black. Feminists criticize liberal feminism for treating women as a single group. It argues that society's power structure rely on gender inequality and advocates for systematic changes to achieve true political equality. Dito, involve ang races at stereotyping. May case na involved dito sa feminist critic Black. May isang scenario na the black woman is a victim of rape. Nung nagsusumbong sila sa pulis, parang hindi naging matters yun sa isang pulis na para bang nandidiri pa habang sinasabi ng black woman. Nung ang nagsabi na is yung white woman, doon nagkaroon na parang interest yung pulis doon sa situation ng white woman. So, laging may racist and stereotyping na nangyayari dito sa feminist critic Black. Okay, the next one is Socialist feminism. Socialist feminism arose of the belief that feminism is not simply a legal and political question, though socialists, by which we mean socialist feminists, do support the case for the legal and political emancipation of women. It believed that women's inequality is rooted in the both of capitalist economic system and the cultural patriarchy, male dominance. The next one is Engels' contribution. The origin of the family, private property, and the states. Frederick Engels focused on more directly on women's position in society. He argued that in early tribal societies, men, women, and children lived in a large household. Production was for use rather than exchange. Decision making involved both men and women, properly passed through the woman matrilineal, matrilineal descent. The next one, Alexandra Kollontai served as commissioner, commissar or minister of social welfare in the first Bolshevik government. He encouraged the establishment of state-supported nurseries, laundries, and educational campaigns for women. The next one is radical feminism. Radical feminism, as indicated from its critics of other position, takes the view that feminism ought to deal with the position of the woman independently of other ideological commitments. So radical feminists argued that women are oppressed because women are women and men are men. Radical feminism is a society that fundamental patriarchy in which men hold primary power and predominate in roles of political leadership, moral authority and privilege and control. Also in the radical feminism, the manifesto of the New York Red Stocking 1969 described women's oppression as a total affecting every aspect of life. Germaine Greer suggests that men and women could live separately except for the necessity of sexual reproduction. Problem with radical feminism. Liberal feminist critic, socialist feminist critic, black feminist, and philosophical feminist critic. When we say liberal feminist critic, it's advocating for total abolition of structural norms and conflating female experiences. When we say socialist feminist critic, it isolates patriarchy as the sole cause of women's oppression. And the last one is the black feminist and philosophical feminist critic argue that radical feminism assumes gender as the primary and universal source of oppression. This perspective creates several fundamental political problems. And the next one is liberal feminism seeks to give women the same political and legal rights that men enjoy so that women can be regarded as rational and autonomous individuals. Social feminism argues that the question of gender must be considered alongside question of class. Radical feminism pride themselves on concentrating exclusively on women's problem and insist that male oppression manifests itself in interpersonal relation as well as in more conventionally political arenas. Black feminists take the view that the ethnic outsider must be explicitly considered and generalized views of women are unacceptable. The next one is Black feminists. Black feminists are acutely aware of the question of difference. In the USA example, black feminists are often headed by women who must also work outside the home. Women suffer from poorer mental health than the white is the counterpart. Problem with black feminism, liberal socialist and radical feminism critics, the critic of philosophical feminism. The next one is the philosophical feminism. Feminist empiricism, standpoint feminism, postmodern feminism. Philosophical feminism, it is a set of approaches that emphasizes gender's role in shaping philosophical concept, analyzing gender beliefs, and presume woman equality. Feminist empiricism argues that sexism and gender bias in research result from poor scientific methods, not from science itself. Feminist empiricism argues that political theory becomes more objective and liable when gender bias is removed and women's experiences are included in empirical research. Standpoint feminism argues that political knowledge is hoped by social position and lived experience, provide a valuable perspective for political theory, helping to expose power relations and inequalities that traditional approaches may overlook. And the last one, postmodern feminism. Women's identities are shaped by factors such as race, class, culture, ethnicity, sexuality, and religion. Political theory should ref- reflect this diversity rather than assume a universal female experience.